And speaking of an awakening, blacks, Hispanics, Asians, they're waking up to the truth. And me, for one, I just can't believe I'm actually seeing this because for most of my adult life, it seemed as if whatever the Democrat Party said, whatever the Democrat-run news media said, it seemed like minorities just, went with it wholeheartedly. And what we're seeing is the Democrat Party is losing the minorities. Their total control over minorities it's gone. And it's waning in such strong degrees that it's very possible this thing can break entirely. And blacks would rebel against the Democrat Party. I mean, it's more than looking like the tides of turning. It's more like a real awakening has happened. Now, this doesn't mean we need to relax and say, oh, okay, great, everything is going to be good now. Because the political machine is always at work. The political insiders, they don't sweat very easily. I know they're sweating now, but they don't sweat very easily. And when they do get to the point where they're sweat, believe me, they're going to pull a rabbit out of the hat somewhere along the way because that's what they do. They're getting desperate. And when they get desperate, when the left gets desperate, when the media gets desperate, that's a dangerous sign. Because desperate politicians will do just about anything. Like I said, they've killed a former president. And they tried to take out Donald Trump on multiple occasions. We talked about that in another show. Let me tell you, we need to pray for Donald Trump and for his protection. This is what's actually happening around the country. People are beginning to see the weakening of the left, their wall that they built around their so-called ideals is beginning to crack. Let's watch this short clip.
President Biden continues to laud his administration's achievements for the black community, but Fox polling from 2020 and 2023 shows his popularity among these voters plummeting, while Donald Trump has seen a substantial boost. Here to discuss further is co-host of Revolutionary Blackout Network and host of the Savvy Saps podcast, Sabrina Salvati. Welcome, Sabrina.
Good morning. Thanks so much for having me on.
So do you buy, the administration's claims that everybody, including everybody in the black community, should just be all fine and dandy with how things have turned out?
I have heard more from black people that they're not willing to just cave over and vote for the Democratic Party this time around. I think that poll is very telling. This is the first time, at least since I've been eligible to vote, where I've seen 20% support from African Americans for a Republican presidential candidate. So Donald Trump's support among African Americans has actually increased compared to where it was in 2020. And I think the Democratic Party should be very concerned about this. I think this idea that Donald Trump is scary, and I'm just not convinced that message about Donald Trump is going to work with black voters this time around in 2024 the way that it did in 2020.
Wow. Blacks are not just going to vote Democrat. And that alone, my friends, is a miracle. But they're just not going to vote Democrat. They're going to actually vote for somebody like Trump. Oh, my God. This has got to be keeping them awake at night. I'm telling you. See, the foolishness of the Democrat Party is they pushed their narrative too far, way too far. And now what we're able to see, for instance, Trump was in office for 4 years, and people saw and felt and lived prosperity. And now they have Biden in office, and they see and they feel and they live things aren't good. I go to the store and a bag of groceries is at least $50, and God forbid I buy meat. I'm really in trouble. They go to the gas station, they see what they're paying for gas. And I know gas prices are starting to come down a little, but believe me, this is all a scam. This is all the federal government, Biden, pushing. He's pushing who? He's pushing the Saudis to do anything they can to flood the market with oil. He's pushing because he wants another term. Now, in this next short clip, we see what really scares the hardcore liberals. Here it is.
So Maurice, thank you very much for joining us. We just want to have a sense of why you decided to be here today and what this proceedings or arraignment that is going to happen in a few hours mean to you as a black for Trump.
Well, what it means to me is give me liberty or give them death. It means I'm demanding freedom. I demand equity. This whole thing is unfair because everything that Jack Smith is charging Trump with, Biden is guilty of 300 times worse.
So this guy Maurice is a former black supremacist. That's right. His eyes have been open, and he founded the group called Blacks for Trump. If that's not enough to make their heads explode, I don't know what is. Listen to this clip. I watched the entirety of it. I wish I could play the whole thing, but it's just too long. But just watch this short clip. Here it is.
Trump or Biden? We've got 2 Bidens and the rest are Trumps. Interesting.
These are people from India, okay? 6 out of 8, 3/4 for Trump. That is a complete flip. If we watch the entirety of that, you'll find most of these people were all Biden people. And we're talking about 3/4 of them have flipped, okay? And are now going to vote for Trump. The blinders, my friends, are weakening.